I now have stage 4 breast cancer and I have been given 8 to 12 months to live. Yep. I was told about 15 hours ago that my cancer is now terminal. I've been caring for patients for probably 5 or more years now and I've seen quite a few terminal illnesses. I never really thought that, well, I'd be finding myself in the same position. Edit, thank you so much for everyone's support. I'll try to reply to each comment and for fuck's sake, don't waste your money on Reddit awards. Give it to charity. Edit 2, there's some things that you need to know about me. I'm writing anything and everything that comes to mind without giving away my privacy. I am 29 and I'm a woman. I live in the UK. I have a brother and sister. Somewhere. The foster system got us at a young age. This was because of an accident in 2006 which killed both of our parents. One of the things I want to do is to find and contact them before I eventually pass away. This crash was bad enough that it knocked me out for a long time. I had to have extensive surgery and be revived multiple times as well as another 2 months in hospital. I think this traumatic experience exposed me to nursing and hospitals in general and it was then I knew I wanted to work in one. With the loss of my parents, we were forced into the foster care system until I was 18 to 19 and I moved out to university. I've never been a healthy pup I guess. I had horrible condition when I was 18 which required surgery. During recovery, I spoke to the nurses caring for me in the hospital and also the practice nurses at my doctor's for dressing changes. Inspired by that, I became a nurse. My hobbies were rooted at a very young age when my dad brought back a massive tape drive from his company. He also brought back a big microcomputer type thing that was from the 80s which ran a basic type language. I remember him telling me this thing can hold as much information as 700 books or more. With both persistence and patience with my dad, we wrote some basic code that could write to the tape drive and read it back into memory, although it was primitive. That set me on my path to explore computing, sciences and eventually medicine. I also at one time had an Apple II computer which was fun to use but I can't remember what happened to it. I still maintain it's the only Apple product I liked. I attended a Church of England primary school and I really hated it. It really installed to me that their religion was effectively you do what we want and you can't do what you want. After my parents died, I was then put through an incredibly harsh Catholic boarding school. This really made me not actually religious at all. Tales from my nursing experiences, these are the bad ones, Therese many more positive stories not mentioned. When I first started my nursing experience, I was mistakenly listened to some people at the university to go into private nursing. This was a horrible experience but it made me the nurse I am/was. In my first month, I was caring for a woman with severe lung problems due to smoking. She started to cough violently. Then, she started coughing up blood in parts of her lungs. We couldn't save her. I moved to working in an NHS hospital which I found to be so much better. During my second year of nursing for the NHS, I was caring for a man who had diabetes who had to have their whole arm amputated. He basically had their arm rotting and the flesh was melting off. It grossed me out but I was strangely fascinated. I don't know what happened to him. There was another time when I was caring for a psych patient who stuck a vibrating toothbrush down his urethra because he supposedly liked the feeling, then ripped it out, causing several tears in his urinary tract. He eventually died of sepsis and there was nothing we could do. In February 2021, I was working in a psych ward. Something happened in an adjacent ward which required almost all of us. Another nurse and I opted to stay in the unit and continued to temporarily watch over 7 patients in the unit whilst waiting for everyone to come back. Whilst doing so, I left one of them, a girl, on her own for just 4 to 5 minutes max, obviously not deliberately. The other nurse had discovered that she had managed to slash at her own throat, spilling blood all over the floor. I came over to help as more staff returned. An incident report was made and I was essentially blamed by management. I had a week off to recover. My unit stood up for me thankfully, the girl survived and was moved to a higher security facility. Only a day later when I came back, one of my favorite patients died suddenly in my arms. This was a 15-year-old boy who had a few concerning medical problems and unfortunately enough mental illnesses to not be able to take care of himself. He had no family, his mother died giving birth to him and his dad went missing in the US. The foster system tried its best but it never worked and then his medical issues landed him where I worked. He liked to wave to staff and chat, as best as he could, and smile and he drew pictures for us. Almost every evening, he got up and slowly walked around the unit, trying to say hello to everyone and waving. During his 7 to 8 month stay, we effectively became his family and although he got sent places, he'd nearly always end up coming back to our unit. Unfortunately, on that day that I came back, he was doing his evening walk. Staff were happy to see him and he was waving and saying hello, as well as smiling. Then, out of nowhere, his nose started to bleed. He managed to reach out to me before collapsing onto the ground in my arms. He looked at me and the last thing he said was something's very wrong. And then he just died, with blood still coming out of his nose. Everyone rushed around me and him and tried resus. But it didn't work. Eventually he was taken away, leaving me standing there with his blood still on me. This really affected me so I wrote an unsent letter to him. Then one of my fellow nurses died. Computers have always been fascinating to me. I know Python 3, some Ruby, JavaScript, Game Boy and 6502 assembly, some C stuff, Java, processing as well as some stupid languages like Bfunch. I took pride in my server rack with various 1U to 4U servers doing many different things. I have 4 PC workstations with all having at least 4 monitors. Of course they all ran Linux. Even had Raspberry Pis. Well, I don't really have a use for them anymore, so I'll be donating or selling it. Growing up I had several Game Boys, a PS2, a PSP, a Wii, a 3DS, which I bought myself, and a PS3. I have a whole Steam library as well. I'm selling/donating all of those because I now want to go out and do stuff whilst I still can. I have no children or any relatives around me usually. Only friends, most of which would be co-workers. There's something magic about it. We would be on a ward or unit somewhere, maybe even A&E. Everything runs almost like clockwork. We would bounce off each other. It's a feeling I'm going to really miss. There was something about it that always kept me crawling back for more. Writing and world building/universe building has been a core passion for a very long time. I initially was toying with the idea about writing some stuff based off of some experiences in mental health care, but some friends on IRC and later Discord really tipped the balance for me to make this account and make what is now Grimtown. Since I'm not going to be around to write it anymore, I'm passing it off to one of the same friends who inspired me to start. I was going to be co-writing a horror game called Soul Divider with them, but yep, that's not happening anymore. I hope it goes well and could maybe make Grimtown famous. Privacy and being anonymous was also another obsession of mine, which I sometimes took way too far. I only ever send images to people who I've met in real life. No one online, who I haven't met in real life, knows my real name. No one online, who I haven't met in real life, knows anything that I didn't want them to. It sounds stupid and absurd, but it was my protection from stalkers and my exes. There was 4 of them and they made me realize how unhinged and obsessed people can be after I made my intentions clear. I had to move several times. I'm incredibly careful about where I'm online because of them. My political beliefs were simple: everyone deserves a chance. Everyone deserves access to essentials like food, water, shelter, healthcare and rights. Left. Anarchist. Socialist. Whatever. Part of me is sad that I'll be leaving behind a world with corruption, exploitation and a climate crisis, and I'm sad because I can't do much about that. Update 1. I decided to only work for a week and then leave. I've been traveling in Europe and now I've visited France, Belgium and currently I'm traveling in Germany. I would have wanted to go to Chernobyl, but that's not going to happen. Some people have been asking what I'm going to do with my remains, and I've decided that I'm going to donate myself to science for either medical dissection in a school somewhere or research or something. In terms of my cats, they're being looked after by my friend who's also going to sort out their adoptions. Another friend has now gotten the computers and server stuff and I've either sold or donated everything else. The majority of this allows me to travel right now. I'm about to travel to America and Canada after I've finished here in Germany. Other places I'm going to include Iceland, Sweden, Norway, Spain, Italy, Croatia, Japan, Mexico, New Zealand. For some reason I've always wanted to explore some cool abandoned places, so I'll be sure to do that before I went traveling. I had another scan and my doctor said I might have several extra months as it looks as if it slowed slightly. One thing that surprised me was how many messages I got which were taunting me about how I'm not going to live to 2024. The vast majority of messages have been extremely lovely and supportive, so thank you very much, but I've received way more negative PMs than I'd ever thought. What did surprise me is that I got an 8-page document from one of my exes who found out about my terminal illness, expressing how sorry he was. I think I might meet up and talk when I get back. Again, physically I feel fine. What's annoying is sometimes I wake up in the morning and feel great and forget what I have. Usually I have a very slight aching sensation which I can ignore well, but it's a reminder. My nurse friends/colleges are fucking amazing and have been filling out docs and helping me apply for benefits. My friend who is making a game and who I handed off my writing projects to, has ensured that I'll be hidden somewhere in the game and attributed, which is awesome. This is going to sound weird, but I'll explain. Some of my nurse friends and I have a type of polyamorous sexual relationship and we've been spending some more time together and will be after I get back. And finally, I'm actually getting somewhere for finding my siblings. Now I'm waiting on some archive searches to get back to me. Thoughts on death. My thoughts on death haven't changed much, but something has occurred to me. I have seen what happens in between now and finally dying all too many times. Death isn't the scary part anymore, and as I think about it, it's going to be the slow decline that scares me more. I know what's coming up and I'm really not looking forward to it. It's why I'm trying to do as much as possible before things get too difficult or I can't take care of myself anymore. To be honest, I don't know what's going to happen after death and I'm not going to pretend that I do know. Obviously I'd like to think that there's something. In case I do become a ghost, my friends have jokingly made a list of people to find and haunt, so I'll certainly be doing that if it happens. In addition, I find myself thinking about my friends more than what happens to me. I was told that by some of my patients who have had NDEs, and for some reason back then I thought surely you'll be thinking about what happens next, right? Now, I see what they mean. One surprising thing I've realized is now how honest and blunt I am. I've always wanted to get to a point where I genuinely don't care what other people think of me, but I've done so now because I've realized that it won't matter at all in a year or so. I'm still, thankfully, polite and such, but I do speak my mind about things with less sugarcoating. My attitudes have become more reinforced now. I've always had a sort of fuck it, it'll be fun side to me, and I feel like this is really coming out now as it's turned into fuck it, why not? It won't matter soon. I've realized I feel more alive now than I have before. It's odd, but knowing I'm going to die definitely soon and I can't do anything about it, makes me feel more alive. Lastly, I've been steering clear of any religious people as I do not want them finding out about my situation. I understand that they want to help me and make me feel better, but I really do not want to hear it. The last thing I need is someone telling me that God is looking after me after the years of shit he put me through, if he exists. Update 2. The greatest update though? I have finally found my lost siblings. I'm going to see them in 2 weeks' time, and yes, it's going to get emotional spending 2 days with them. There's going to be way too much to catch up on. My aching sensation is getting slightly more noticeable, but it's still ignorable. There's a small tumor now in my right shoulder, and there could be signs of one near my liver. Unusually, it hasn't gotten to my lungs yet, and no one seems to know why. Also, it seems like I really could have some extra months. Either way, I'm making the most of it. I met up with the ex who sent me those 8 pages, and it was really nice to actually make peace with him. It was a really nice day. Another thing, I finally got arrested. I got really drunk and rowdy at a pub. Surprisingly, the officers were understanding when I told them my situation and when I admitted that it was on my bucket list. I've decided to get my name, birth date, and the cancer diagnosis tattooed on my left upper arm, as I thought it would be useful for when I donate my body to science. I think I'll update it with each scan result. We've also decided to get a list of our nurse friends' family 3 names on our right hip because whenever we'd see each other on a unit or something, we'd place our right hand on our hip, place our left hand on our chest, and tilt our head to the right. I can't really remember why it started, but it became almost like an inside joke and a way to identify each other when we were drenched in PPE. It means a lot to us. There's 9 of us, and we also put what we do and where we first met. Wasn't my idea either, but I love it. Another thing is that I've sold off my car. The guy I sold it to agreed with me to remove the stickers and such so that my friends could have some more money to travel with. I'm going to be honest. I'm really miss having my servers and computers, but I have found a nice compromise. My friends have been asking me to help them set up their own servers. Update 3. Once again in the UK. Went traveling to Iceland, which was awesome. Came back for some more scans and Teresa new result, which is worrying. This is discussed below. Now about my siblings. OMG, they've got kids. And yes, there were lots of tears. My older brother works for something I had no idea about. Apparently there's actually people who write the code that makes traffic lights work and communicate with each other. Something I've never really thought about before. There was a long discussion about my situation with my older brother's kids, a boy and a girl about 7 to 9. They talked about it before I arrived and they seemed to understand it. My brother and his partner were more upset than their kids were, because I guess my brother and his partner were like, OMG, we've found your long lost sister. But she's dying. It was a tough conversation to have, especially when his kids started to question why this happens to good people. My older sister is scarily similar to me, although we haven't been in contact for most of her in my life. She's a chemist at a pharmaceutical company and loves science and computers too, although she isn't as mad as I was. She only has 2 mini servers and a media center. She has no kids of her own, but decided to adopt a 15-year-old boy to give him somewhere supportive to stay for secondary school, unlike us who had to go through the foster system whilst we were in secondary. I would have definitely done the same if I had the time and wasn't working as much as I was to fill in the emptiness. She doesn't have a partner and doesn't plan on getting one. They've been preparing themselves since they've heard, and I felt like there were more emotions with them. Perhaps because it was just us 3? I'm not sure. My sister is also eerily into similar clothing styles to mine, like gothic clothes and such, and other general coolness. Our music taste is similar too, and I've given her some recommendations. I'm surprised we didn't accidentally meet at a festival. According to my sister, she's not aware of any possible family history in relation to cancer, but instead an increased risk of CJD and some skin autoimmune diseases. So, that's fun. My aching sensation is getting more noticeable now. I think I also moved my shoulder once and could feel the small tumor. It's not painful, it's just there. My breasts are still fine and actually seem to be improving. Still no signs of it on my lungs. But I'll talk about a worrying result below. My hair's fine as well as usual. I've got T10 my info tattoo updated with the newest scan result, as much as I don't like it. I've stopped writing in my diary as I feel like it takes too long. Instead I'm doing voice notes. But I have started drawing again. I finally decided to meet up with my friend who I'm passing off my writing project to and who I was going to be co-writing a horror game called Soul Divider with. It was really great as I was able to just talk and they listened. I asked them to ask me anything as I wanted to answer questions which most people avoid asking when they learn I'm terminal. I loved being honest. I also greatly appreciated them being there and being such a good listener. I was able to tell them some of my more disturbing nursing stories as well as some really nice ones. We talked about what I think is going to happen next, etc. I reminded them to cherish life as it can change quickly, in a single second. It was also great to go out to meet them. They said I looked great and didn't look like I had a terminal illness. I didn't go with any of my friends, apart to meet my friend, and ended up making 2 friends at the bar. Thoughts: currently I'm horrified and scared, more than I was when I found out that I was terminal, because of a recent scan result. I now have a tiny, secondary, brain tumor. Near left temporal lobe. Size of a pea as far as anyone can work out. It's the slowest growing part, so it should be easily taken care of with the radiotherapy I was offered and immediately agreed to. I'm very much terrified of this because I've seen what brain tumors can do. One of my nursing friends died very quickly in 2018. She went from working on the ward. Week later, she couldn't see out of one eye. Another week and she couldn't move much. Another 3 days and she couldn't do anything apart from hear and talk. Then 3 days later and she was dead. That's a horrific way to go. I sincerely hope either one of 2 things. 1. The brain tumor is cured and it's not a problem. 2. My other cancers kill me before the brain tumor ever becomes problematic. Annoyingly, radiotherapy means I'll probably have to say farewell to my hair again and I can't travel that much. To be fair, I do get to see those cool radiotherapy machines again, as well as CT and MRI scanners. Almost became a radiology tech. Another update in a month's time. Update 4. This is being typed out by a friend, as are my replies. Well, this is it. I'm almost certain that I'm not going to see spring, though every day is both a gift and also nasty. I'm now bedbound and can't walk unaided. Currently living in one of my amazing nurse family's houses. They care for me. I don't like seeing myself in the mirror. People aren't meant to look like me. I've lost a lot of weight too. In terms of pain, I don't have that much because I'm on drugs. Last time I had a scan, there were 4 new ones in my brain. 1 is back. They aren't doing any more scans now. I saw my friend one last time and that was probably upsetting for them. So much has happened in between last update and now that I can't really talk about it as talking is getting more difficult. Basically, I went traveling for the last time and had a great time, then collapsed on a train platform because of my brain. 1. Nursing family are amazing. I had my last tattoo update for my condition. My nursing family's house where I am has been somehow receiving religious posts somehow, which is annoying. I am not religious at all. How did they find out? I don't know. Thank you to almost everyone here on Reddit, especially this subreddit, and anyone who looked at my writing project on here, r/Grimetown. It now belongs to you /Fall Deeper Alice 5268E, the friend who calls themselves Lewis Sucks, and they hope that maybe at some point, Grimtown would be famous. My dying wish would be to fund the NHS and ensure it has the resources it needs and improvement it also needs. I do have a long list of things I wish would also die when I die, as well as a list of people to haunt for good or bad. Update 5. Commenters critical news. I regret to inform the community that the author has passed away peacefully in their sleep earlier this weekend. I will now be continuing the Grimtown writing project and hopefully release some new material soon. Nothing on this subreddit is going to be deleted, but I will possibly be releasing material on a dedicated website. I'm not sure what's going to happen to the fandom wiki as I don't have access to it right now. A special thank you to everyone who has read some material here, and another thank you to NGT's friends who helped and cared for her.